A jogger was out for her morning run. When she turned down a street on her normal running path, she saw what looked to be a dead animal in the middle of the road. But as she got closer, she realized that it was not an animal at all. It was a child. Welcome back. I'm Cassie, and this is A Wicked World. Hope everyone's doing well today, and I just wanted to remind you that I just started my Patreon recently, and there is a new exclusive video up. I will also be uploading exclusive videos to that 2 to 4 times a month. So be sure to check it out because you don't want to miss those videos. It's only $3 or $5 a month too, so good deal. The case I have for you today takes place in Dallas, Texas. And like all the other stories that I tell, this one is also a terrible tragedy. But it could have been even worse than it was. This is the story of Cash Gernon. Cash Gernon was born September 12, 2016, to his mother, Melinda Seagroves, and his father, Trevor Gernon. He lived in Houston, Texas when he was young, as well as later moved to Dallas, Texas with his dad and his brother. Cash had a twin brother named Carter. The two loved playing Hot Wheels together. Cash also loved the superheroes Iron Man and Spider-Man. He was described as a very happy-go-lucky boy who was a born leader. So Trevor Gernon, who was 31 at the time, had full custody of his twin boys, Cash and Carter. It's unknown why the mother didn't have full custody, but it can't be a good thing, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's usually not a good thing if the mother doesn't have any custody. In February of 2021, Trevor and the two boys moved in with Trevor's girlfriend, Monica Sherrod. Monica was 35 years old, and she was also a single parent like Trevor was. She had 4 children, however. So Trevor had been arrested multiple times over the years, including a 68-day lockup back in 2018 for assaulting his father over an argument of a credit card bill payment. Following his indictment on felony drug possession charges stemming from the previous November, Trevor failed to appear for his March 29, 2021 court date. He forfeited his $10,000 bond payment, and then there was a warrant out for his arrest at that point. So in order to evade the law, Trevor decided to go back to Houston. He had been in Dallas with his boys living with Monica, but he needed to go back to Houston so that he didn't get caught. But he didn't want to bring the boys with him. He trusted Monica, as he had known her for a few years, and she had children of her own. So he decided at that time that he was going to leave Cash and Carter in Monica's care. Monica agreed. She had grown to love the boys, and they loved her as well. Trevor figured leaving them with Monica would help to not interrupt their routine, he said. But I think it was just because he was running from the law and he couldn't very well bring 2 4-year-olds with him. I know. The twins' mom said that she was not aware of Trevor and the boys' whereabouts for months before. However, Monica says that that is not true, and she never tried to reach out to see where the boys were at any time. So, that's up for debate. Monica, along with her biological children, Matthew, who is 15, Landon, 14, Cameron, 18, and Emily, 16, lived in a 6-bedroom home, and she had set up a bedroom for the boys at the back of the house so they could be together. And everything was going great with Monica and the boys, as far as we know. That is up until the morning of May 15th, 2021. Monica says that morning she woke up unusually late, around 10 a.m. Since it was quiet, she figured that Cash and Carter must still be sleeping. Though I don't know any 4-year-olds who are still sleeping at 10 o'clock. If you know one, send him my way, so he can teach my daughter to do the same. But when Monica went into the boys' room, only Carter was there. And when she asked Carter where his brother was, he told her that Cash went outside. Believing him, Monica and her other children went outside and all around the neighborhood to look for Cash. Monica was calling out for him, telling him, "Stop hiding from me, it's breakfast time, Cash." But still, Cash was nowhere to be found. It had been no more than an hour, though, before she called 911. She thought that her and her children were going to find him. He had just maybe walked out of the house or was hiding from them. She wasn't too worried at that point. But as it got later and later, she started to panic. And around 11, she called 911 to report him missing. Now, just a few hours prior, around 6:40 a.m., a neighbor named Antoine Square was out jogging when she saw what she suspected to be a dead dog laying in the road. Once she got closer, she noticed that it was a child. There were ants crawling across the child's feet, and he was only wearing shorts. At this point, the jogger knew that the child was no longer alive, and she immediately called the police. When police told Monica about the little boy that had been found just a few blocks away from her home, she was crying and confused and hoping that that little boy they found was not Cash. But her daughter told her, "Mom, there's no other babies missing, just our Cash." And unfortunately, she was right. It was little Cash. Police said that he had been stabbed multiple times with an edged weapon. It wasn't until she got down to the police station that Monica remembered that she had security cameras around the house, including one in the boy's room. She had been in such distress until this point that one of her sons actually had to remind her, "Hey, Mom, why don't we check the cameras?" At which point, she immediately went and checked the footage. And there it was on the recording. There was a man in the boy's room, and he had taken Cash from his bed. This chilling footage shows a man who Monica was able to identify as a neighbor and acquaintance of her son. She told the police that it was 18-year-old Darian Brown. Darian is seen creeping into the boy's room at 4:58 in the morning. He then goes over to the boy's toddler bed, where the two are sleeping together peacefully, and he stands there for a little while, just staring at the two of them. Then all of a sudden, he reaches down and grabs little Cash and runs out of the room. Darian was then seen returning to the room at 7:30 that morning, and he was staring at Carter this time, about to take him. Luckily, something startled him, and he took off. Carter was almost next. It was later discovered that the back door to Monica's house leading to the garage was damaged and broken after Darian had forced his way into the home after sneaking in through the unlocked garage.
The door is broke right here, as you can see. It doesn't have a latch on it, so we use a chain now to lock it up. And that's where he came in. He lifted the door up, and right here, as you can see, it's been kicked in or tampered with, if you would call it. And he made his way through here while we were all asleep. Quiet, I guess. I don't know why nobody heard him around here. And then into here, this is where the boys slept. This is where they were sleeping that night. He slept in the bed. He just came in, just stood over him, just watched him. The cameras are here, directly at the crib, watching. He just picked him up, took him back that way, carried him, just like carried him.
Monica also told police at this point that Darian had been in her house 2 days prior while she was out doing grocery shopping. She had left Cash and Carter with her daughter to babysit the two, and Darian had come over to possibly visit her son, or I'm not exactly sure why he was there, honestly, but Monica was not okay with it. When she came home and discovered that Darian was in her house and he was interacting with the boys, she told him to get out and to never speak to her children again. So police went over to Darian's house to search it. While he wasn't there, his mother, Mimi Brown, was, and she was in complete denial that her child would have done anything like this. Which I understand. Parents don't want to believe that their kids could do anything this atrocious. However, when the police showed her the footage, she still denied that that was her son. She told them that her son had been with her all week and had never left, so there's no way it could have been him. Okay, I get that you're in denial because you're a mom, but when you see it on video camera, it's not somebody dressed up in a Darian suit. In the home, they found a black Adidas hoodie, black sneakers, and black sunglasses that all belonged to Darian. They also found a piece of tissue that had blood spots on it, as well as a pocket knife. Police noticed that there was blood on the clothes that they collected, and when it was tested, the results came back, and it was Cash's blood. At that point, police arrested Darian Brown, who was wearing an ankle monitor for a prior offense. He was booked on charges of kidnapping, theft, as well as a capital murder charge, now that they had the proof that the items in his possession had Cash's blood on them. And police still don't know what the motive was behind it. Now, several neighbors of Darian's had reported him to the police in the past for some suspicious behavior. But the neighbors said that the police officers had never followed up on their calls. And maybe if they had, Cash would have still been alive. One neighbor shared security footage from his home with the police. The video showed a man in a face mask and a hooded sweatshirt checking cars in the driveway to see if they were unlocked. The man in the footage, which is time and date stamped 1:16 a.m. on April 19th, was later identified as Darian Brown. Another resident, Jose Alvarado, discovered some interesting video on his security footage after Cash's death. He decided to go back through the footage and see if there was anything that had been captured on there that would help aid police in their investigation. The neighbor didn't find anything from May 15th on his security footage. He did, however, notice that 10 weeks prior to Cash's abduction, there was a man that appeared to be Darian peeking into his backyard. Darian is seen walking into Jose's driveway from an alley that runs next to it. He then opens the gate on the wooden fence that surrounds the family's home. But after looking in the yard for a second, he walks away. There's also a second alley adjacent to Jose's corner lot that runs directly behind Monica's home, which is why he thought he might have something useful for the police to use. While in jail, Darian Brown was also charged with burglary and injury to an elderly person. This brought his total bail to now more than $1.6 million. So he wasn't going anywhere. It was found out that in February of 2021, just a few months prior to Cash's death, Darian had tried to abduct a 2-year-old girl from her grandfather's home. Darian had broken into that home as well, and simply started walking around room to room, just looking everywhere, until the grandfather spotted him and told him he better leave or he was going to stab him with his kitchen knife. Go, Grandpa. He was able to get Darian out the door, but as he was about to lock the door, Darian was able to push the door back open and break back into the house, where he punched the old man in the face and then went over to the couch where the 2-year-old was sleeping, grabbed her, and was attempting to take her out of the house. Luckily, even after that punch, Grandpa was still with it, and he ran after him, and he grabbed his granddaughter back. He ended up getting punched in the face again by Darian, but after that, Darian fled. Now, for some reason at the time, the grandfather decided to not press any charges, and he actually didn't even file a police report. It was unclear if Darian actually knew the grandfather or how he had even gotten into the home. The grandfather told police that he actually ran into the intruder 2 weeks after the incident at the local Walmart. He said that Darian had approached him and apologized, saying he was sorry for breaking into his house and trying to take his grandchild. So Darian's mom had told police when they went to the house previously that Darian had some mental issues. Darian reportedly said that he had heard voices in his head at the time that he had abducted Cash, but that's really all that he said about it. Darian's attorney, Heath Harris, claims that his client is innocent, and that doesn't necessarily mean that that was him in the footage. He also said that his client is schizophrenic and he had actually just gotten out of a mental health facility prior to his arrest. Heath Harris also questioned why no charges were filed immediately after the alleged February incident. He asked why it had taken 3 months for the man to file a case in regards to Darian trying to kidnap his granddaughter. So Darian's defense attorney decided that he needed to undergo a mental health evaluation, and he decided that he was also going to try to plead insanity if he was fit to stand trial. So Darian's mental health was evaluated by a professional that was hired by the prosecution, and there was also one hired by the defense. And they both came back with the same conclusion, that Darian was unfit to stand trial. Now, incompetency means that he is unable to understand the court proceedings and assist in his own defense. This is different from whether he was legally insane when he committed the crime. The doctor who evaluated him said that he may never be competent to stand trial. The latest update in the case shows that it's still open, and Darian is awaiting a bed at a mental health facility. He could later be found competent to stand trial. It's reported that Carter, Cash's twin, is back in his biological mother's care, Melinda, though Monica has cast doubt on this, saying that she believes he's probably actually in state custody. Monica said that the boy's mother, even though she said that she was looking for them for months and didn't know where they were, hadn't even wanted to FaceTime the boys the previous Christmas. She also said that if Cash and Carter had been shown a picture of her, they probably wouldn't even know who she was. But who knows what the truth is in this situation. Monica says that the boys looked up to her and called her mommy. So Cash's mother, Melinda, apparently banned both Monica and Trevor from attending Cash's funeral because she blames the two of them for what happened to him. Cash Gernon's funeral was held at the Magnolia Funeral Home in Magnolia, Texas. He was buried in a custom Hot Wheels casket with his beautiful smiling face on it as well.
My name is Trevor Gernon. I'm the father of Cash Gernon and Carter Gernon. First, let me say that I do not wish this nightmare on any parent. You have no idea how hard it has been for all of us, or how hard it is to hold it together while everyone picks your family apart, family turning on another. All attention and time should be reserved for Cash. I want to thank you all for being so compassionate and motivated for justice. It is comforting to know that so many of you feel this loss too.
Well, thank you for listening to all of Cash's story today. This case is so heartbreaking because it seems so random and so vicious. Maybe Darian was trying to get back at Monica for kicking him out of the house a few days prior. Or maybe he had just lost touch with reality and he was hearing voices. Who knows? Why do you think he did it? All I know is that we may never know, and that must be frustrating for Cash's family. And I really hope that Cash's twin brother Carter is living with a loving family now and is continuing to heal, because this must be so difficult for him especially. If you do like true crime and you want to hear it from me, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button below and give this video a like if you feel like it. Alright guys, until next time, thanks for watching A Wicked World. Take care now. Bye. Thank you to our new patrons, Adina and Lindsay. You guys rock. Now, there's even more of A Wicked World on Patreon. You'll have access to exclusive videos each month and more. Any support truly helps to make sure the victims never get forgotten and to highlight the shortcomings of society associated with each case. So check it out at patreon.com/awickedworld or use the Patreon app.